Why didn't you ask Isaac? Okay. 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 Bye. Oh my god.
Who's that?
My mom.
Oh. Dude, maybe we should do this another day.
No!
I am so tired. Dude, I got so far into that joke and then it just went away.
No, it didn't. You're still going. Sorry about that.
Sorry about that, viewers.
Did you? Okay.
We had an unfortunate interruption.
That sucked, yo.
Where was it? Oh, yeah. Jockeys were just kind of sitting there. And, you know, they were the first time they were jockeying, so they were a little bit stupid. One of them actually had palsy, so he too acted as an retard. Anyway, so they were just sitting there, you know, and then the guy up in the stands was blowing a little trumpet, like, and then they banged the gun, and everyone else was taking off except for Razzle and Dazzle was sitting there like, yeah. And then all the other horses go around twice. Razzle and Dazzle are sitting there like, yeah. And then Razzle looks up at Dazzle, and Dazzle looks down at Razzle. And Razzle looks up at Dazzle, and Dazzle looks down at Razzle. And Razzle looks up at Dazzle, and Dazzle looks down at Razzle. And Razzle looks up at Dazzle, and Dazzle looks down at Razzle. And Razzle looks up at Dazzle, because Razzle's a little bit shorter than Dazzle, as I think I might have mentioned. And Dazzle looks down at Razzle. And Razzle looks up at Dazzle, and Dazzle looks down at Razzle. And Razzle looks up at Dazzle and says, hey Dazzle, you want to race? So they just take off, and they lap all the other horses 4 times, just to show off, and then they're just going and going and going, and they're going so fast, it's not even funny, and they're just going so fast, you would have to blink to see them. That's how fast. They're just going faster and faster and faster. And then it's neck and neck. It's Razzle, Dazzle, 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 Razzle, Dazzle. And then Razzle was just tiny. So, I think I see a penis. Is that a fucking penis? I'm sorry for the interruption. There was a penis on screen. Penis. Anyway, it was neck and neck, and it was Razzle, Dazzle, Razzle, Dazzle, Razzle, Dazzle. And then Razzle went such tiny. So anyway, they won a bunch of money, and Farmer Brown buys 4 more acres of weed, because, you know, sometimes you need a little bit of weed to calm you down from the crack. Little known fact, weed and crack mixed together equals normal. So whenever you're high on crack and you need to get down, you smoke some weed. It'll make it better. Anyway, so they make a bunch of money, but Farmer Brown still keeps his animals in, because he likes the life of the farmer. It's very peaceful, except for his wife is a bitch. But that's not important. So anyway, one day, him and his wife are just sitting there. They're in the barn, you know, just milking some cows. Farmer Brown was going like this, massaging the teeth, because, you know, he actually likes touching the cow's teeth a little bit. The cow's like, because, you know, she is a little bit awkward feeling because Farmer Brown is massaging her tit. And his wife is just like, because she just wants to get the fuck out of there because she thinks it's gonna rain. And Farmer Brown's like, He looks up at the sky and he notices that there's a couple holes in the barn roof. And he looks at his wife. And he's just kind of sitting there milking the cow and he looks at his wife. And then he looks at the udder. He smiles to himself. And then he looks back at the cow. And then he looks back at his wife. Because there's actually a difference between the cow and his wife. That's what I mentioned. And so he's just sitting there milking the cow. He looks over at his wife and says, honey, can Vera's milk with my wife? Just, yeah, what do you want? Like, oh, well, I was thinking possibly maybe we could put the horses in another race. She's like, no! And she rips down on the udder And as she rips down on the udder, the cow's udder completely comes off. She just throws it across the ground. She stomps her foot down. She says, I will not have another race in this house. She's just angry beyond all belief. And so, there is another penis on screen. I'm sorry, I have to look this. It is in fact not a penis. It is in fact a man. A man whose email address starts with Wataz. That's, in fact, W-A-T-O-Z. I don't know what that means, but that's his email address. Anyway. So, his wife stomps her foot down. She throws the udder across the room. Milk and blood is flying everywhere. The cow's like, you know, because the cow is screaming in pain because she got her udder ripped off and stuff, like having her tit ripped off, only worse. Because an udder is a big organ. Anyway, so his wife stomps her foot down, and as she stomps her foot down, a little piece of the ceiling comes down and hits her in the head. She glares up at the ceiling, and she glares at Farmer Brown. She glares at the cow. The cow's like, because it's bleeding to death. She glares at Farmer Brown. She's like, well, maybe, but only because we have to buy a new cow now. Son of a bitch. So race day comes along again, you know. Farmer Brown called Racetrack Man. Racetrack Man was like, yeah, that's cool. It was a big deal. So race day comes along again, and the same thing happens, only Razzle and Dazzle look them past them like 8 times. So they go around 8 times before Razzle looks up at Dazzle, and Dazzle looks down at Razzle. And Razzle looks up at Dazzle, and Dazzle looks down at Razzle. And Razzle looks up at Dazzle, and Dazzle looks down at Razzle. And Razzle looks up at Dazzle, and Dazzle looks down at Razzle. And Razzle looks up at Dazzle, and Dazzle looks down at Razzle. And Razzle looks up at Dazzle, says, hey Dazzle, you want to race? So they just take off, and they lap all the other horses twice. And then they're just neck and neck. It's just Razzle, Dazzle, 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 Razzle, Dazzle. And then Razzle wins, which is tiny, tiny little. So Farmer Dave makes $1 billion, trillion more dollars and becomes the richest man on earth. He calls the Pope, and the Pope's like, yeah, what do you want? And he's like, I want to divorce my wife. And the Pope's like, why? He's like, because my wife's a bitch. He's like, oh, okay. So the Pope gives him special permission to divorce his wife. So he divorces his wife, and he buys the Playboy Mansion and all of the Playboy girls. And he makes trillions of dollars, and so he's just like the richest man ever. So anyway, and then, you know, but he still keeps his animals, because he wants to have the simple farmer rich life. Anyway, so he's just going around feeding all of his animals. He feeds all the chickens. He feeds some pigs that he got. The pigs are named Enrique and Francesco. Pigs are actually gay, but he keeps them for slaughter anyway. He has chickens and 3 new cows to replace the 1 cow that got her udder ripped off. Unfortunately, the cow died. He had to bury her. Got a very large gravestone. Flowers. It was nice and pretty for Joey, the cow. That's right, Joey D. Your cow died. Anyway. So, and, you know, he was just feeding his horses. The horses were all the way down at the end. He was at the other end. He just put some stuff in there. And then sly wind blows in from the west again. Yeah, and this mother's favorite alfalfa and her favorite man. And they just go. And then Razzle looks up at Dazzle, and Dazzle looks down at Razzle, and Razzle looks up at Dazzle, and Dazzle looks down at Razzle, and Razzle looks up at Dazzle, and Dazzle looks down at Razzle, and Razzle looks up at Dazzle, and Dazzle looks down at Razzle, and Razzle looks up at Dazzle, and Dazzle looks down at Razzle, and Razzle looks up at Dazzle, and Dazzle looks down at Razzle. Then Razzle looks up at Dazzle, says, hey Dazzle, you wanna race? So they just take off, and they're neck and neck, and they're going so fast, it's not even funny, and it's a blur on how fast they are, and it's just Razzle, Dazzle, 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 Razzle, Dazzle. And then Razzle wins this tiny, tiny little bit. So they're just standing there, you know, eating their food. You know, Razzle's just like, and Dazzle's like, and Razzle's like, and Dazzle's like, you know, they're just eating. This dog comes along. Now the dog is one of the original dogs. The 10 dogs that Farmer Dave had. Farmer Dave Brown, of course. And, you know, his name is Murphy, in fact. So he's just sitting there, you know, chomping some hay. Well, the horse is chomping hay, of course, but the dog is just sitting there, looking up, then he looks at Razzle, and he looks at Dazzle. He looks at Razzle, and he looks at Dazzle, and he looks at Razzle, and then he looks at Dazzle, and then he looks at the hay, and he shakes his head, sniffles his nose. You know, it's not a very big dog, so he can sniffle his nose like that. Brown, maybe, blackish, tannish, pink dog. No particular breed or anything, just a dog. Anyway, so he's just sitting there. He looks at Razzle and he looks at Dazzle. He looks at Dazzle and says, "Hey Dazzle, why do you always let Razzle win? I mean, you could be really good. I mean, you're a lot faster than her, and you're taller, so you got longer legs. Why do you always let Razzle win?" And then Razzle looks up at Dazzle, and Dazzle looks down at Razzle. And Razzle looks up at Dazzle, and Dazzle looks down at Razzle. And Razzle looks up at Dazzle, and Dazzle looks down at Razzle. And Razzle looks up at Dazzle, and Dazzle looks down at Razzle. And Razzle looks up at Dazzle, and says, "Hey Dazzle, look, a talking dog!"